Anyway, welcome to everyone. We're going to go and start on our regular agenda. So what we're going to do today is get updates from the elections office about all of the stuff that's going on with the recall election, including fun things like dates. We'll also get an update about the VEOAC and the LAC. Someone's...
Are you ready? Should we start?
No. I'm just going to give, and then after that, we're going to talk about, we're going to give everyone a chance to talk about their outreach plans and what's going on. And then Diane will give us a quick update on legislation. So with that, I will pass it to Sarah.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm wearing pink today. Michael's got black, it looks like. We're in the Elections Division office, and even before all offices were required to have masks, the county asked staff and visitors to wear masks inside, but that continues for everyone now. I'm going to be looking off to the side because I've written some notes up and they're not like right in front of me, but we talked about ballots going out in the mail. It sounds like Friday. They'll reach the post office in San Francisco Thursday and begin going out in the mail Friday. First vote centers are going to open on Monday, August 16th. So to us, the election's already starting with mail going, the ballots going out in the vote centers. We sent a postcard to all registered voters around July 15th. And there's going to be a second postcard going out in the mail to all registered voters around September 1. We've done 3 postcards in the past. Part of VCA is the Voters' Choice Act is to require that the county do at least 2 direct contacts with voters. And we think voters have gotten the hang of vote by mail, that we can just go with the required 2 and not do 3 postcards. We'll see how that goes this election. Let's see, smcvote.org is live. So if you want to visit our sort of election website, that's where the countdown is. If Michael cheated, did you look at the number there? Yeah, it'll tell you how many days, hours, and minutes until the election ends at 8 p.m. on election day, the 14th of September. We have a lot of materials. Let's see. I think, Diane, you want to flash the quarter sheets that you picked up? Ooh, she picked up their Spanish and English, one side Spanish, one side English. It's about a quarter of a letter size sheet, a little larger. We have those currently in our hands for Spanish, Chinese, Tagalog, and Tongan. And, all have English on one side. We have bookmarks right now. Is she flashing bookmarks too for me? No, she didn't take any. Bookmarks that are the same information, the date of the election, our website, the info on the 4 ways to vote. And I think it's also, there's something on if you're not registered, how you can register. But bookmarks, Spanish, English, and Chinese English. Oops, I've got the notes over here. Let's see. In progress, we have a frequently asked questions flyer, and that's going to be Spanish, English, Chinese, and English. It's a full page sheet. It's going to look a lot. The questions on it are like our sample ballot that you're going to get in the mail. The sample ballot voter information pamphlet will come in the mail with your official ballot instead of ahead. She's got a frequently asked questions. Oh, because she has an event coming up. So she's printed her own, but Michael, don't look. But she's not handing them out. She's using them for herself to be able to answer questions. But we do plan to print in bigger quantity and allow people to pick them up if you wish, you think people want to take one with them, that's fine. We'll have a flyer very shortly for people who are on parole or probation, various restrictions due to having been in prison or jail. And we have that in Spanish and English. If there's interest, we can also do it in Chinese. I have the translation, but I haven't had the interest yet. We'll have a vote center drop box location flyer that's about legal size. And those you get, like, one side is English with all the vote center names of buildings and the address. The other side is the drop boxes with, where they're located. And we have a little cute icon for if it's a drive up, you get a little car next to the name of that particular location. We have, by the time the election goes full steam, well, we have 3 vote centers opening August 16th. Then is it September 1st, Michael, for I'm trying to remember, the 11-day. No, it can't be the 1st.
The 4th.
Thank you. The Saturday, the 4th, September, we'll have another 8 opening. And let's see, is that right? Just 8? Okay. So it's 5 more opening for a total of 8. That's what I have to get right. And then on the weekend before the election, we'll have a total of 20 opening on that Saturday, September 11th. And they'll be open, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and the election day, usual long election day hours, with 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. What else? Let's see. I'd say that's a lot of the election specific update. Michael, do you have any this election specific? I've got a few others on other things. Go ahead, Michael.
Apologies if you had covered this and I just didn't hear it, but we have our election administration plans posted for public review. These were posted early this week and late last week, and they're available for a 10-day public review with the deadlines of this Friday, the 13th, for the English, Spanish, and Chinese. For the Japanese and Korean language translations, it's the 14th. That's a deadline for feedback from the public. And then the 15th, the Sunday, this is a deadline for Hindi, Burmese, and Tagalog. So if you have any questions or feedback about how we, I guess an overview for those not familiar with this document, it's our election administration plan. It's a required document from every Voters' Choice Act county that explains to the public how we are going to conduct the election in terms of vote center, number of vote centers, drop boxes, locations, outreach efforts, PPEs, how we handle in-person voting locations, things of that nature. So those details about how we plan on administering the election, and it's available for public consumption and review right now. If you have feedback or questions, just let us know, but you have to get them, those comments and questions in to us by either this Friday or Sunday for the various translations. And that's it for me.
Just going to say on that election administration plan, it's just a small supplement. It's maybe 5 pages, and it goes with the overall election administration plan that we have for 4 years that was previously approved from January 2020 through January 2024. So that's the big document, and you can also see that on our website. But then the supplement for this website, for this election, has things like, the vote center addresses we're actually going to use, the Dropbox addresses we're actually going to use, because it may be a little different than what was happening in early 2020. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just on the vote center availability that you went through earlier. When you get to the last 4 days, you mentioned that there would be 20, and is that all of them? That's my recollection. There are only 20, right?
No, they're adding another 20 on, is it Monday?
No, Michael, why don't you take that? I'm sorry, I was distracted on,
No, that's fine.
on a,
The
So
last 4 days, the 11th through the 14th of September, that there would
correct,
be 20 vote centers open.
correct.
Is that all there are, I think, this time?
That's correct. Yeah, so that's all
Okay,
there
so
is for this recall election. There was emergency legislation from the state for the recall, limiting the requirements, the number of requirements due to the rush and the budget associated with these election costs. So they reduced the number basically required for vote centers for this
The
election.
reason I'm bringing it up is it might be good to promote it as all vote centers will be open as opposed to 20. It just might make it easier for people to not have to research whether the one they're looking for is open. It just say all are open. That makes it easy.
Yeah, you can definitely add that clarifying language on our websites. I think some pages are pretty clear about it, but we can always revisit the language, make sure it's
Saves them the trouble
crystal
of
clear.
seeing theirs is open or not. They can.
Good suggestion. Thank you.
any other questions for those of us here at the elections office? Feel free.
So this is Elsa. Apologies because I answered that incorrectly when I heard a pause. But I mean, I've been to these meetings and I hadn't realized that the last 4-day group that's opened, that is it. So I also think that might, given the other people being used to being able to go to the ones that opened either election day or Monday, we might just in our one-to-one conversations want to emphasize that. That the ones that open Saturday that's the last batch. That's all.
Yeah. Also, we're going to be open on Labor Day. Now, that's not all 20, but we'll have 8, I believe it's that are open Labor Day. Make it convenient if you're working and you get a holiday at least if you want to come to one of the vote centers. Hey, quiet enough that I think I had go ahead. Someone had something?
I was just going to say, did you give VAC and LAC updates?
Not yet. That's now moving out of the recall election with a couple things. Oh, someone has their hand up.
Yeah, sorry. This is Linda Wolin from Supervisor Pine's office on the phone. I just wanted to ask about employment opportunities in the vote center. So I saw on an alert about needing drivers for election night. But I'm wondering if you are hiring for vote centers and if you are doing the student democracy program.
At this time, for this election, we're not doing the student democracy program. It's sort of that summer is ending, school hadn't quite started, you can't really connect well with everybody. And also the need is not as great as it was for the presidential election to have as many people on hand to work. So we don't want to we know how people don't like standing around. So we don't have the student democracy program. I am looking if anybody's interested as far as working with students. I thought it'd be great if we could get some students who wanted, this is probably more South County, students who want to help veterans at the VA hospital in the Menlo Park area. Last election, the League of Women Voters South County was able to do that, and they don't have the bandwidth this time. And there's a few people probably who have moved in since the last election who will need to re-register, and several people need help with filling out their ballots.
If I may add, Linda, so yeah, we have, just to recap what Sarah says, we have reached our staffing needs for the vote centers, but we still actually need help staffing our back-end operations. So for vote by mail, if folks who would like to basically see what happens when voters turn in their ballots to the elections office, what happens on the back end? We still need a good number of folks to help out with ballot processing. So this is everything from, extracting ballots out of envelopes to QCing the ballots, to scanning them, to doing the adjudication and actually reviewing the voter marks on those ballots and making sure everything is accurate for election results. So if you know of anyone interested in participating in that back end process for elections, we still need some folks, and that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay,
And-
thanks. Maybe if you have job announcements that you want to send to Petra to distribute to VEOAC members, maybe that might be helpful.
Well, I know she's got job announcements from us. She's shared them through links to everybody on our emails about updates on the VEOAC meetings. But maybe that wasn't, big enough for everybody to notice what was on, there's so many different things going on in an email.
But if you want to send me, that was an old email. We're going to be sending a new email as a follow-up to this. That'll have a bunch of things on it. So if you have real specific needs, including what you were talking about for the veterans, send that to me and I will send that out to the larger mailing list.
Sounds good.
Pam has a question.
Yeah, I didn't see, good morning. I didn't see listed on the website that wonderful Dropbox you put at the Boys and Girls Club in Bellhaven.
Let me, I thought,
Yeah.
I thought that's on there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah,
It's on the written list on Pierce 401 Pierce
unless
Road.
it got, but the website's more up to date than anything written.
Okay.
And you say it's not on the website list? Let me take a quick look here. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't,
it's an outside, according to the list, it's supposed to be an outside Dropbox.
Yeah, it's an
Michael,
outside.
do you know anything while I look at our website? No, okay, I haven't heard of a change in that Dropbox. I will look at that and maybe we can, I can have a minute to do that and I'll write something in chat and let you know, and we could, or Petra can bring it back up because I need a moment.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I was looking under the curbside drop-off service.
It's not curbside. That would be the issue. You're looking at curbside is if you're unable to get out of your car and you need to have someone come to your car with voting equipment or with a ballot, that's curbside. You need to look under Dropbox, ballot Dropbox.
Okay, I'll keep looking. It could be operator error.
But a ballot Dropbox should be one of the easiest things to find. Are you on SMC Vote? The website?
Yes.
And
yes.
there should be like 4 big buttons at the beginning. Like one is vote by mail. The next one should be like,
Ballot Dropbox.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. It's it looks like it's a.
I think I saw it.
No,
There it is. Find my
I'm
votes there.
missing it.
Diane, you're looking online. In the meantime, maybe Michael, could you go ahead and look online on that one?
I verified it's there. I could post a link, a direct link.
Yeah. And if it's not there, then update it. But it could be, old eyes trying to find it.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
thank you.
there. Yeah, it's listed as a 24-hour outside box. You have to click on show all drop boxes.
Yeah.
But if you click on the blue thing that says show vote centers and drop boxes, you'll get to it.
Yeah. Okay, Pam. Great. Just a couple little things I wanted to do as far as mention that with the LAC, some of the members are helping to go to some of the grocery stores. Like Ray is going to go to some in San Mateo that are the Spanish speaking and see if they'll include our quarter sheets in grocery bags or post a flyer. I understand some places, I think Wes mentioned to me that one of the Japanese stores will only allow a flyer to be up for a week. So, we want to maybe wait a little longer before doing something there. We have a meeting of the LAC next Monday, and we have a link on our website on the calendar if you're interested in coming, the time and the link. The VEOAC, the voting, make sure everyone knows, LAC was Language Accessibility Advisory Committee. And for the Voting Accessibility Advisory Committee, they're working with us on ADA upgrades to the Elections Division building. And their next meeting is August 19th. And the meeting link and info is on our website, the SMC Acre, the main website, which if you go to SMC Vote and you click on the top, like Office of Mark Church, I believe it takes you to that main year-round website.
So Sarah, did the
just two quick. Yep.
Just back
ahead,
on
Diane.
that, on the ADA accommodations. So did the Board of Supervisors agree to provide the additional money out of the budget? Because didn't we write send a letter to the board saying we supported the VEOAC in getting that additional funding?
Correct. So you did, and that was very helpful. It's still preliminary. The board has not provided any additional funding for those facilities. However, we did meet with the Department of Public Works a couple of weeks ago and had a very positive, favorable meeting. And they're interested in, basically revisiting our plans and hiring a consultant to basically scope out the work and hopefully begin the construction project. So it seems that we're on the same page with the county-wise. It's just a matter of initiating the initial meetings with the contractor and really planning out and detailing the scope of work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Sarah.
No problem. Diane, you can interrupt me anytime. Just two other quick notes. County voter registration number. We are, as of August 5th, we're at 439,247 registered voters in our county. So that is just a terrific number. We're really, every time people move out, people move in, it all balances out and increases slowly. And I wanted to mention, because I know some of you I would call our election geeks. And so we do have some new precinct numbering. And I don't want that to scare anybody. The new precincts numbering, we updated precincts from 4-digit numbers to 5-digit numbers in February of this year. There's a reference sheet on our website when you go to the precincts that shows the old and the new numbers so that you've got cross-reference. But I see a few people writing that down, going, oh yeah, I go to the precinct info. And that's all I have. Michael, anything you want to add?
Nothing from me. Good job. Good report. Thank you.
I have a geek question, I guess. What you just mentioned about the 5-digit numbers. Hopefully somebody will go back and do some kind of test on the remote accessible vote by mail or whatever other online options are available for voting after what happened last year, where I ended up trying the remote accessible vote by mail system and essentially got whatever it was, precinct 12 instead of 125 because it truncated one of the digits.
Yeah, Mike, we apologize about that. That was dealing with the ballot types, actually. So our system.
So that's not the same issue, in other words.
It's related, but no, it's not the same issue for the remote accessible vote by mail system. The issue was in that the coding had limited it to 2 digits, but we had 3 digits worth of ballot types for that election. This election, we don't have 3 digits, but that's definitely something we want to continue to test and make sure it's properly working so that doesn't happen again. So thank you.
Just know from programming that anytime you make a field bigger,
Yeah.
that risk exists in some environment.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
I guess there was one more thing I could mention. Petra's like, oh my goodness. We have a lot of news. In case you have any friends who live in Atherton or you live in Atherton, a special postcard is going to be going out next week to the residents there. And that's because the hope had been to put the ballot drop box in their new city hall or new town hall, smaller, and it's not quite ready yet, is my understanding. So we put in the sample ballot voter information pamphlet that you could go to one address, which is the new town hall, and we're alerting people that it's still at the administrative office and inside a park, Holbrook Palmer Park, 150 Watkins Avenue, and that check our website for when the move is going to happen to the new location. Phew, I think I'm done.
Finally. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Sarah, for all of those updates, and Michael too. Really appreciate it. We're going to go on to outreach because this is a really important election. And it's really hard for people to get their heads around things like, what happens if one of our senators, something happens to them and they need to be reappointed? That person's going to be reappointed by whoever's governor. So even though the time period is really short, it could be really significant. Also, something that I emphasize to people, and it kind of surprises them, that is, the governor is recalled, it's just the person who has the plurality of votes. So it could be as low as 12% for our next governor. So that might not be someone who's super representative. So that's a little bit my soapbox, is like, people should be paying attention to this election because it really does mean something. Thrive, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Thrive's outreach, and then I'd love to hear from everybody else about what their outreach is. But a lot of what we're doing is hopefully supporting what you guys are doing, because that's what we do at Thrive. So we have a couple of things that we want to share with you. So first of all, the elections office has developed some great materials, but one of the things that we find as an alliance of nonprofits is some people don't necessarily want to hear it from the government. So Yahaira is going to share with us our fast facts sheet, which is a one-pager. We've done it before. This is a draft, but hopefully if you guys don't have any big comments, we will get it out to you soon. We're going to give it to you in Word form so you can put your own logos at the top. So the idea is that this is something that you and any nonprofit or anybody can send out and just attach it to their regular newsletters. And it's super simple, again, not branded from the elections department on purpose so that you can brand it to your own organization. Yahaira, are you able to share screen? Okay. So we tried to keep it as simple as possible, but we also wanted to make sure it had all the facts on it. So that is one thing that we are doing. We are also going to create a short blurb for people to put in their own newsletters as well, so that, again, it's not just us. It's not just the official stuff, but you have something that looks like it's coming from another organization. So.
Is everyone able to see it?
No, it's a black screen.
Let's see.
Petra, meanwhile, is that available now, in other words?
It'll be available by the end of the day.
Wow.
I wanted to show it to you guys first. Yeah, if you want to email it to me, if that doesn't work, then I will.
How about now? It says it's sharing.
Oh, it's black for me. Is anybody seeing it?
No.
Black screen for me.
Okay. So it's just my laptop.
Okay.
Yes, happy to put the link in there.
Okay.
We were seeing the mouse. I could see your mouse. I don't know. That was weird. Yeah. So.
I think it's just my laptop. I've been having this issue for the past few days. Okay, Petra, I've sent you the link.
Okay. So yes, the whole point is to make this available to everybody, and it'll be in a Google Doc so that you can, like I said, brand it however you want. Okay, now do you see it?
Yes, thanks.
Okay.
Can you say what it says for the instructions on question 1, if that's what you're posting there?
So it's recall election explained, and it says, what is the recall election? What is on the ballot? How do you vote? Voting is safe and secure. So, and then has explanations underneath
Right.
all of that.
I've been hearing things on TV and radio, particularly, that are, I'll just say, potentially confusing to people on question 1. In other words, they'll say, you're voting to determine whether Gavin Newsom remains governor. Well, that's not what yes means. Or whether Gavin Newsom should be governor or not. And people think or not means to vote no. In other words, wording has to be fairly precise so that people know that yes means he's out of office.
But that's fairly clear in the second section.
It is. Okay, that's all I wanted to verify.
Thanks, Elsa and Mike. Okay, so let us know if you have any comments on this. We're going to just clean it up a little bit, but I wanted to make and then send it out to you guys at the end of the day.
Thanks.
So that is the first thing we're doing. Sorry, Yara, can you? And then the second thing we're doing is if you go to, let's see if I can do this without embarrassing myself. I'm going to go to Thrive's website. And then there are 2 ways to get to it. Either you can go to events here, or you can just scroll down at the page, and we have these wonderful things that we've developed, that Yahira and Diane developed together, which is 15-minute explanations of the recall. And we're doing it 5 times. First one this afternoon. We're switching between morning and afternoon on Wednesdays so that as many people as possible can get to it. It's free, it's 15 minutes. We're trying to make it super duper easy for people to come to. So we will have that link as well when we send out the follow-up to this. So that is what Thrive is doing for their outreach. We're also going to be reaching out directly to a lot of nonprofit organizations that work with the communities that tend to have lower numbers. So lower outreach, lower, it's called lower voter participation. I got it. Okay, so love to hear what everybody else is doing. So I'm going to put somebody on the spot. I'm going to put Marnie on the spot. Oh, do you want me to, Diane, do you want to be on the spot first?
No, let Marnie be first.
Okay, Marnie, you're up.
Thank you.
Everybody introduce yourselves also.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Marnie Rubin. I'm with the League of Women Voters of South San Mateo County. Thanks, Petra, for putting me on the spot.
You're welcome.
But we are already kind of got our wheels in motion, and we've got a couple. So we're doing some in-person stuff as much as we can safely, as far as tabling and kind of getting the word out. We are still going to be focusing for this election on Redwood City, North Fair Oaks area, the Bellhaven area, Menlo Park, and East Palo Alto. But we've also decided that we do want to hit Atherton, Woodside, and Portola Valley, the other 3 cities in our region. So we're trying to hit as many cities as possible, but we are focusing most of our materials on English, Spanish, not as much as Chinese or different other languages, mostly English, Spanish. We're doing tabling where we can in person. Starting this week, we've got a couple tables going up. So we'll try to pick up election materials from the elections office for that. We designed our own flyer. It's a double-sided flyer. And we're going to be using that. It's league, logoed. But we will be using the elections office materials as much as possible. We'll be doing our Google Ads program, running that out. We'll be doing canvassing, we think, get out the vote weekend, although we're not sure that that is really meaningful anymore, that last weekend before the election. So we're just trying to figure out when we might canvass and if we can canvass in person. So that's just kind of a multi-pronged approach. One issue that I did want to raise quickly is that we're having trouble with that second question, kind of figuring out, because we need to remain nonpartisan, but the governor's campaign is recommending you don't fill out question number 2 at all, but then our league is saying that you should fill it, the California League says you should fill it out. So we're kind of looking for a little bit more guidance or informal guidance on question number 2, how to kind of deal with that, especially at our tables.
Marnie, yeah. I was thinking, people would be saying, okay, here, question number 1, do you want to recall the governor or, and then you can vote on the second question, even if you vote on the first. You don't have to. You don't have to vote on both questions. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I guess people want to express who they would like to be the next governor if the governor's recalled. But yeah, so that is helpful, Sarah. We're just trying to kind of suss that out. I'm not sure if other folks are having that issue, but something to keep in mind. So that's it. Thanks.
Could I just make one point on that, Mrs. Elza? We were quite struck. I think there's one other sort of major group that's also saying, I don't know whether it's KDEM or not, that's also saying, don't even vote on the second question and this is sort of from the Dem side of things. And I really take issue with that, because even if you are from the Dem side of things, you still should want to assume serve for worst case, realizing that worst case, pending how you answer question 1, can happen. And there's such a range among that 45 people that, I as a voter would still like to put my 2 cents in about that. So I would actually encourage people to evaluate them. And if you have points of view on, this is clearly the person to ask for to do that. But I think if you look at the governor's campaign as the ones who are saying, don't even vote on question 2, it's almost as if they want to say, well, look, only X% of the people even voted on that. And, to see if there were any legalese. But sorry, long way of saying, I highly recommend knowing enough of the candidates that you can vote on the second one too.
Well, so the other thing to consider is when we've gone out and done voter outreach, and especially around election time, one message we do tell people is it's not important. You do not have to vote on everything that's on the ballot. That doesn't invalidate your ballot. So again, I know it's a weird situation where, that's the message we've been trying to get out to people, because a lot of people don't vote because they look at, the 3 pages and say, okay, I can't deal with this. So we really try to encourage people, vote on the things that you understand. Don't worry about everything else. So yeah, it's a conundrum in terms of how it's presented. But I guess it's important to say that if you don't vote on the second question, your vote is still counted. Your ballot is still counted. I know it's tough.
Diane, you want to go ahead as long as you have the floor?
Sure. So I'm Diane Leeds, San Francisco Peninsula People Power, and we're going to be doing a number of events for the recall. We've thanks to Sarah, she's gotten permission for us to do outreach we're going to go to Movies on the Square over the next 4 weeks. What we've decided to do, instead of having a table, is we're going to have people with clipboards going around trying to make sure people's voter registration is current and handing out information about the recall and answering any questions. So that is going to be more just kind of roaming through the crowd. On the nights when there's 2 movies, the kids movie and then the adults movie, we're going to do it kind of in between. So that's for the next 4 Thursdays. And then we're also going to be doing Pub in the Park at Red Morton Park on August 28th. And there we will have a table because we'll just kind of set up and be there for the day. And then this weekend, this Sunday, we were asked to do voter registration for an interfaith coalition that's doing a John Lewis Remembrance Day. So in addition to getting people registered to vote or giving them a way to check that their voter registration is current, we'll have information about the recall so that people are very aware that the recall election is coming, and answer any questions that people have about, again, like question 1 and question 2, what do we do? So we're doing that. So that's what we're doing. We were trying to do some outreach via Dignity on Wheels, where it's once a week, people can come and do their laundry and take a shower, but we're still waiting on, Sarah's trying to get this permission. So if that doesn't happen, we maybe we'll do something around National Voter Registration Day with Dignity on Wheels. So that's it for People Power. Anyone else? Any other organizations doing things?
Yes, lots of organizations. Who wants to speak next?
I'll jump in. This is Margie Gator from the League of Women Voters of North and Central San Mateo County. We are similar to Marnie. We're going to try to get out there as much as we can with tabling and outreach. We need to, we're a little bit behind, but we'll do our best to catch up on figuring out the events we can go to and can staff. Kind of along the lines of Marnie's question about how to handle question 2, I was wondering if pointing out, I know Petra's big bugaboo is about if Newsom is recalled, if no is 50%, 50.1%, and he's recalled, then the candidate with whatever percent of the vote, which could very well be under 20%, is the next governor. If that's considered partisan or not, to point that statistic out. I kind of don't think so, but
It's not partisan.
I didn't think so either, but I just sort of wanted a sanity check.
I think
I
it's
think
one
that's
of the
information
most
people-
important points.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Elsa.
It's one of the most important points.
I think so too.
People need to know, like, that's not, it's not partisan, it's just fact.
Right.
Could be a Democrat that gets the 12% and that gets them in, right? So,
Okay.
Yeah, and even in the 15-minute recall training that Yahara and I've worked on, there is a slide specifically that points out what, essentially why it's so important to get out and get people to vote, so that they understand that it was a very low bar to get it on the ballot, and it's a very low bar, if to replace them if more than 50% of the people say yes. So we're emphasizing that in the training as well, as nonpartisan as we can.
and this isn't, this is just something for us to think about, is just Schwarzenegger actually got a large percentage of the vote because there was one clear candidate, whereas now there really isn't. So it just feels really different than it did then.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Mike. I had a comment too.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would just compare it to the top 2 system that we have all the time. Obviously the Republicans don't get 2 candidates very often, but let's say you're a Republican and there's 2 Democrats running for district whatever. To me, it's your obligation, if you have a preference, to say what your preference is and pick one of them. You might get a better outcome depending on whether it's moderate or liberal or whatever their issues are. It's right to encourage people to make a choice if they actually have a preference. It's okay to not vote, like you said, but there's 46 people instead of 2, but it's still a choice.
And just, do you really want to be governed by somebody who could have gotten between 2 and 3% of the vote? That's the ultimate to me.
Anything about it. I think, whether you vote
That's
or
it
not,
for-
I think somebody will get elected that if it's a really diverse field, somebody will get elected with 10 or 12% of the vote. Maybe we need to change the whole process and higher standard, for gets to do the replacing. But
Mike,
Yeah,
you're
that's a
going,
That's a
Good
different
for
issue, so I'll
everybody.
pass it on to outreach on this election for somebody else.
Who would like to share next?
I'm Margie's partner in the North and Central San Mateo County League of Women Voters. I just wanted to mention, Margie didn't include that we're doing a big social media outreach through our league this week. Started. I assume that will be a rolling thing. So that's the other thing that we're doing.
Thank you. Elsa.
This is so minor relative to everything you all are doing, but SMC DFA was originally having its annual party in person on September 1st, which is now Zoom again. But we're doing tabling the last 2 weekends at farmers markets from San Mateo on. Actually, I'd love to ask the Southern League person, are you doing the farmers market in Menlo Park and Palo Alto those last 2 weekends? I think this was March, or do you know yet?
We don't know yet. Farmers markets were kind of we were hoping to do those, but I don't think we have them on the calendar yet. We'd love to do them with you, or if you want to do them, that's fine too.
Yeah. So the Menlo Park and especially the College of San Mateo are on our list. And we're thinking about the Redwood City ones. They're a lot smaller, but that gets into a more interesting population. But our thought was, it's fabulous to be doing it for groups that tend to vote at a lower percentage. But given that so many people tend to skip a smaller entity election, we thought it was still good to remind other people to vote. People who normally vote, but who might not in this one. So that's why we thought it's reasonable we well know how to do all those other farmers markets. So we thought we'd do that too. But we were thinking of the Redwood City items that you are going to do. And so we might come volunteer with you. Diane, we have good links into your people power groups.
Yep.
So we'll hopefully sign up, work with you.
We're always looking for more people to help out. We've got all the materials.
Yeah, I love the clipboard idea. So you can go find people. They don't have to find you.
Right. And then we have like the QR code on the back of the clipboard. So yeah, we've been doing this for a number of years. So I think we've got it down.
Perfect. We should do that at the farmers markets also, but we don't have the QR code and all that. So we'll talk to you about that.
Okay.
Offline. Thanks.
Diane, where does the QR code go to?
Registertovote.ca.gov.
Can you give us that? We don't have that on our fast facts sheet.
Sure. I just have to figure
Or
out
whatever.
where I have it.
I'm sure Yahira can find it.
Yeah, if not, I'll look through I just need to look through and pull it out of the
I think that would be a good thing to
back.
add to our fast facts sheet, because a certain generation is very, very happy when they see a QR code.
Exactly.
Sorry.
And even more of the other generation is learning how to use QR codes.
Yes.
So many restaurants with menus are now only QR.
Okay, who else wants to share?
Good morning, I will. At the Bellhaven Library on Sundays, there's the farmers market, vaccinations and testing. So it's a one-stop shop. And I'm going to work with Marnie, about having at least on 2 Sundays, and I'm thinking the 29th and the 2nd, because it'll be closed on probably the Labor Day weekend. But I think that's our best bet over here, as well as our little newsletter.
Pam, I'm going to set you up with Betsy Colby. I think she's doing this Sunday at the farmers market. So
Okay, good.
an event. So I'll set you up with her.
Thanks, Pam. Angela, do you want to update us on what NEMS is doing?
Hi, thanks, Petra. I'm Angela Yip with NEMS and she, her pronouns. So we're somewhat limited in what we can do regarding engaging in the recall of the federally qualified health center. But one of the things that we do year round is we assist our patients in voter registration. And so we wanted to make sure that our patients who are receiving ballots in the mail, that they're able to understand kind of what it is and how to vote in this unique election. So we're training our member services staff who our patients come to with questions about things like, forms that they get in the mail or any issues that they might be having with public services. And we're training our staff to be able to answer questions that patients come with. A lot of our patients are monolingual, and so we want to make sure that we can be a source of information for them during the election.
Thank you. Ben, do you have anything you'd like to share about what CID is doing? Yeah, that's what happens when you put people on the spot. They might not be there.
Yeah, nothing at the moment. Like was pointed out earlier by other members, we do ongoing registration. I am also part of a network that is currently working on this, but I have no specific plans to share at this time.
Thank you. Wes, do you have anything to share? Wes, are you there?
I know he's had some technical problems when we've had there. Yeah.
Okay.
He just put that in chat.
Yes. Okay. Catherine Hart, can you tell us what organization you're from and if you have any updates?
Hello, I'm with the Mid-Peninsula Republican Women Federated and first time on the call, and I do not have updates.
Okay, welcome. Because you signed up for this, you'll get our fast facts and all of that information as well. So anything you want to use, please do, and we're happy that you're here.
Thank you.
Who else? Anna Kramer, do you have anything you want to share?
No, I don't have anything to share. Thank you.
Okay. Glenn?
Yeah, the Immigration Institute is we're sending out texts to our to people who've naturalized over the last few years, even people who we think who voted at least once before. We want to make sure this process is new. So helping with that, and we'll expedite that a bit further because I didn't know about. It's good to hear the ballots are already going to be in the mail so soon, but we're advancing. We'll make sure we get finished with the texting faster then, so people know what's showing up in their mailboxes.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody?
Are there any of the unidentified telephone callers, or did you catch both that I see? I guess one is Mike.
Mike or Linda, do you guys have any outreach you'd like to
Linda was
share?
the other one.
This is Mike. No, I have nothing.
Okay. Linda, anything from Board of Supervisors?
Hi. Hi, good morning again. Not specific to outreach. I was going to just make a quick announcement about National Voter Registration Day when that's appropriate.
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. So it's a little wonky of a time this year, but as you know, National Voter Registration Day is a national event that's celebrated on the 4th Tuesday of September. So as it happens, it's falling after the recall. So it's just a little weird, I think, in California. But thank you, I think it was Sarah and Diane, for raising it and bringing it back to our attention, because we like to highlight it at the Board of Supervisors. So Supervisor Pine will be introducing a proclamation to declare the day in San Mateo County. And it will be, the board meeting is the same day as National Voter Registration Day, which is the 28th of September. So if anyone, again, it's a little wonky because it falls after the recall, but if anyone is doing anything as regards voter registration, especially for pre-registration for youth, and would like to come to the board meeting and talk about their work, we would welcome that. So you can either tell me now or contact me offline.
And by come to the meeting, it's still all virtual, just to clarify.
Oh, thank you. To come to the virtual meeting, yeah.
It makes it very easy to do public comment.
Yeah. Or if you just want to, Supervisor Pine can certainly report on any work. I mean, maybe also it'll be an opportunity to just acknowledge the recall will be over by then. So anything relative to voter registration, Sarah and Michael, that would be interesting too, to see if there's, what was the deadline for registering prior to the recall? That's coming up in a couple weeks, right? August something.
August 30th?
If there's any, August 30th. So
Right.
if there's any data of, registration, new registrations that happened just
of
prior
course,
to the recall, I think that would be interesting to know.
people can register same day registration with conditional voter registration. So the 15-day, or not that, yeah, it is 15 days, August 30th, in a way doesn't matter anymore. But you do have to come in person for conditional voter registration, same day registration and vote.
It would be interesting to know how many people take advantage of that option for the recall, just as a data point.
Could I just ask Michael, thank you so much for pointing out the QR code is on the Secretary of State's website. There are 2 QR codes there. Are they the same? Do you know? Or is one for one thing and one for something else? I couldn't figure that out.
They are the same from what I can tell.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Sure.
So are we moving along to National Voter Registration Day? Okay. So I can jump in here for San Francisco Peninsula People Power. Right now, our plans for National Voter Registration Day is we are working with the San Mateo County Library System. And we're currently looking at having tables at the Belmont, San Carlos, East Palo Alto, and Foster City county libraries. We were asked to do something at the Half Moon Bay Library, but was strongly suggested that if we do that, we need to have Spanish speakers. So I've actually put in sent an email to Connie Guerrero, because I know she's helped us in the past, if she could just direct us to some folks on the coast that could staff the table with us. And then we will also be hopefully once again doing something with Skyline College, which will probably be via Zoom, which is what we did last year at Skyline. And last, possibly Daly City, which is not in the San Mateo County Library System. So we have a different contact there. And actually a question for you, Marnie, is are you folks planning on doing anything at the Redwood City Library for National Voter Registration Day?
We are just tapped out with the recall election stuff. So we're really focusing on that. If you want to do Redwood City, we'll partner with you. Connie Guerrero is a great, Great resource. She has a bunch of folks, Spanish speaking folks
Okay.
on call.
Okay, so we'll
yeah,
add
go
Redwood,
for
we'll
it.
add Redwood City, because
Yeah,
we've got a
please do.
good relationship with, Derek Wolfgram, the head of the library there. So, but we
Yeah.
didn't want to go there if you already had plans. So we will add that to our list as well.
Please do. And keep us in mind to add on, for, as a resource, but go for
Great.
it. Manage it, please. Thanks.
Right. And, obviously we'll have all the materials there. We're just, and we're not, our plan this year is not to do like all day events. We're trying to find out the busiest times of day so that we're there for maybe 2 to 3 hours max, hopefully 2 hours, and pick the best time of day to be there. And in terms of pre-registration, we have a different person within People Power who's trying to connect with some of the schools that we've worked with before, like East Palo Alto Academy and Eastside Preparatory, but we don't have anything definitive. And that we may not specifically tie to National Voter Registration Day because it's really hard to make things happen on a particular day at a school. So that's what we're doing for People Power.
Diane, is all the stuff that you mentioned, is that all going to be on the 28th or some of those things prior to?
That's all going to be on the 28th.
Great. If you could just send me a list when we get closer to the day, and maybe supervisor can just mention that all that is happening in real time.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I can send you a list and with the times as well, because again, we're still trying to nail that down with each library. So I will definitely do that.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. Thanks. And anyone else who ends up doing something, recognizing again that it's kind of wonky, and as Marnie said, if you're working on recall outreach, it's kind of overlaps.
Well, just an FYI, because the recall is over, which was going to be our hook, to get people to the table, we're going to be talking about redistricting. So hopefully by that date, we'll know the dates of all the public comment meetings, and also just have like some, a brief one pager on, well, what is redistricting and why should I care about it? So that's going to be our hook for this year, because most everyone's registered to vote that we run into. So it's an opportunity to talk about something that's voter registration adjacent.
And don't forget that on Thrive's website, there's a whole page about redistricting, and Yahaira has been fantastic about updating it as soon as we get information, because the information is changing all of the time. And thanks to the league, both leagues of women voters, the San Mateo County now has an advisory commission, although there is still one open position for, help me out here, Diane.
District 4, Warren Slocum's district.
District 4.
So for Warren Slocum's district, so if anybody's in Warren Slocum's district and is interested in being on the advisory committee, there's still that one position open. And it would be really good to have someone so that we get 3 people from each of the different supervisory districts. And Yahaira just put the information in the chat.
We are working on it, just to let you know.
Thank you, Pam. So yeah, we are definitely going to be sending out a lot of information as soon as those public meetings start happening, so that people know when they are and get involved. And Diane, if you want Yahaira to work with you on your redistricting one pager, she's happy to. She's become quite the expert.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. That would be great once we get past the recall.
Yes, I know, it's just like everything in a row. Anything else on National Voter Registration Day from anybody? Okay, any exciting legislative updates?
Basically, nothing new from last month. I mean, about the only thing that's even of any interest, which I've mentioned last month. So AB 37, making the vote by mail, a lot of the options that were available through the November 2020 election. The only thing is there is a hearing set for August 16th in the Appropriations Committee.
Okay.
But other than that, there's been no updates on any other legislation.
So we would normally meet again on September 15th. And that might be a day that rings a bell in that it'll be the day where our elections office is going to be exhausted and stressed and busy. So what we thought we would do is actually take September to be a time to visit the elections office individually. You are allowed to go and observe. Actually, I'll let Michael or Sarah take this, go and observe the whole process. So do you want to tell us about how to do that?
Of course, you'll probably be meeting me. Actually, I'm usually the go-to tour guide for the vote by mail operation, so I'd love to show you guys around. Basically, the process is no appointments needed. Just show up. You check in at the front counter. They'll give you a badge. You just sign in a form, and then a staff member will need to track me down somewhere in the building and let me know that there are observers here, and I'll come collect you and give you the chronological tour. So I usually start with how we basically the area where we receive mail, and then walk you through the entire process, and then answer any questions along the way. Usually takes around half an hour or so. Can take up to an hour depending on the number of questions, but I'd be happy to show any and all of you what we do here.
And Michael, they don't have to wait until September 15th, do they, to see votes going through vote by mail?
No, not at all. Some days are tricky because I mean, depending on when you come, if it's like a lunch hour or a break time, there might not be any activity going on, but that won't prevent me from just walking you through and showing you each station and what we do and how we do our our processes. So we're pretty flexible. But we will start processing ballots basically next week. It's the time the code allows us to. We'll start signature checking next week, and then we'll begin extracting and QCing and scanning ballots. So obviously we won't have a lot to go with. As of now, I think we had like 50 overseas ballots received. But of course, once we get closer to election day, we'll start getting thousands and more.
I think the voter turnout numbers for this election is going to be fascinating. I have no idea what it's going to be like.
Neither do we.
Yeah. So Marnie.
Yeah, I realized that I said get out the vote weekend, which would normally be the weekend for the election, and that's when we would plan to canvass, if we can canvass, either canvassing in person or card canvassing, which was something people did last year. But just throwing it out there, I guess, what might be the best weekend for us to, would it be 2 weeks before the election? I mean, because it's vote by mail. Like, any advice from anyone on what they might be doing or the best bang for our buck in the next month?
Curve goes like that still. It's getting a little longer, so that last weekend is key.
It's still key, even with vote by mail, you think?
That's a good question, because usually, our trend is everyone procrastinates and everyone, turns in their ballots into the last minute. But we didn't see that last election. We saw a lot of early voting in presidential when, we had a lot of barriers with COVID and the pandemic and fires. There's a lot of, basically factors that we expected people to vote really late, but that wasn't the case. Everyone voted early. So we'll be sending a postcard, Sarah mentioned, around September 1st. So that's kind of like what we're tracking, kind of like to get, not at the very last minute before election day, even the last weekend, but kind of like the last early week or week and a half before election day, just kind of spur early voting, but also try to capture the procrastinators too. It's kind of our thoughts.
Thank you.
Michael, I would love to update my brain, which is clearly wrong on many fronts here, with the graph that shows when ballots did come in. So if you, who are such a good researcher, ever find that link, I'd love that too. Thanks.
Sure, we can send it your way, no problem.
I mean, we'll be getting a report from Mindy Romero that will have a lot of information that you'll like, Elsa, you know, again, for the geeky election.
Any update as to when we'll actually see it?
Which year?
We want to make a big splash when we finally see it.
Yeah.
So please let us know. Maybe that'll be our November meeting. That would be exciting. So we will definitely be meeting in November. Is there anything else before we sign off about this election? And we'd love to see you guys at using our resources that we're putting up. If you need more elections resources, go to Sarah. We'll be sending out a follow-up email with our fun facts, fast facts. I guess they're more fast facts than fun facts, depending on how geeky you are. But and feel free to advertise our 15-minute thing with your networks as well.
I do have a question, Petra. Santa here. I read something about you can print your own ballot on your printer. Is that like misinformation? Does anybody know about that?
I think Sarah's on mute. I hear her responding, but I don't hear her here. Anyways, I can respond. Oh, she's unmuted. There you go, Sarah. Take it away.
There, I'm sorry. I was the last election too. I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted, and you can't tell when I'm talking with this mask. That we have remote accessible vote by mail, RAVBM, and with the pandemic, that was something that was allowed for everyone last November, and again, it's any, I guess, any state election this year. And so that includes the recall. And what you do, I think, well, Mike's used it, is basically you get a link from us, or you can find yourself in the, my election information on our website. And you don't download a ballot. You're connecting electronically. You are getting to see a ballot. You mark it on your computer screen. You need to print it, and then you need to mail it in or drop it off in a drop box or, in a vote center.
Is there a link for this?
I think Michael can explain. You need to do some special signature too, right?
It's not a special signature. It's just a normal. You do have to sign your signature. There's an oath of voter form that accompanies the ballot, and you do need to print out. It's basically to replace or to. It's the same process as when you sign your ballot envelope.
Right, but the point is, it's provided if you vote by mail.
You absolutely do need to provide it. Yes, it's a security measure because obviously, it protects against voter fraud. We need to be able to identify that you are you and you are, this is your ballot and not somebody trying to vote on your behalf. We will not count ballots without signatures. But these ballots will also go through the same signature verification process like all our other ballots. If a ballot signature is missing, we will send a cure letter.
So is there something on the website that describes this process?
Yes, I just posted in the chat some info about the process. There's even a demo at the bottom, so you can play around with it. So you can click there at the demo and play around with the site, navigate it, and even print out a demo ballot. And
I would just say, don't assume that you just make some choices and hit send. Just make sure you do look at the instructions, but it's not complicated.
Yeah, it is not electronic voting. It is not internet voting.
So if you just go to smcvote.org and you just click on the box that says remote accessible vote by mail, that'll take you probably to the link that Michael sent. But again, to keep everything easy, any information you need about the election, you go to smcvote.org, you should be able to get from that page, that landing page, to whatever other information you need, including remote accessible vote by mail.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, you know where to find us. Good luck with everybody with your outreach efforts. Good luck to the elections office and surviving. And we will be in contact. Thank you all for coming.
Okay,